This video is on Chapter 17, Span, and in particular we're going to look at example 179, 180, and 181. So example 179, we want the span of these two vectors. This is I and j in R3. And remember, the span is just the set of all linear combinations of these two vectors. So the span is going to be the set of vectors that look like this. You can have anything for the first component, anything for the second one, but the third one will have to be 0. So it's the set of vectors a, b, 0, such that a and b are any real numbers. This is the span of this set of two vectors. Example 180, we have I, j, and k in R3. And our solution is similar to this one. The span is simply the set of all vectors a, b, c, such that a, b, and c are real numbers. You can have a times this vector plus b times this vector plus c times this vector. And you'll notice the set a, b, c such that a, b, c are real numbers. This is actually equal to R3 itself. Finally, we'll look at example 181. Example 181, we're going to look at the span of a set of 4 vectors. Our 4 vectors are first of all I, j, and k. So these 3 vectors here. Now we're going to add a 4th vector from R3. So we have I, j, k, and the 4th vector that we're going to add is the vector 1, 0, 1. Now, if we look at example 180, these 3 vectors already span R3. And so even if we just look at the span of this subset, these 3 vectors here, we have R3. Adding this 4th vector did not increase our span. And this also illustrates something that I want to look at in general. So in any vector space, in general, if S is a subset of T, then the span of S is a subset of the span of T. Also, it's more than that. When you look at Theorem 182, Theorem 182 tells us that if you take any subset of a vector space, the span of that set is a subspace of the vector space. So it's not just that the span of S is a subset of the span of T, it's actually true that the span of S is a subspace of the span of T. And so this span is a subset of this span. The span of this space was already all of R3. So the span of this set is also going to be R3.